Hey there, everybody. So, welcome to another episode of the Sports and Laws. I'm Coach Pierre and my
And, I,
co-host.
and I'm Cody Bowser.
We are going to talk about the Colts game. As a big Colts fan, our number one Colts fan here, he is going to recap some of the things he stood out. I watched the game as well, and I'll chime in primarily just some of the things I saw on the coaching side, and we'll also have a quick discussion about the Chiefs' move to Kansas. So, um, with the with everything that went on in the Colts game, what were your thoughts, Cody? What stood out to you? Positive, negative, so on and so forth.
Well, positive. I guess we can start with my prediction for the game plan was
Hmm.
completely wrong because Philip Rivers ended up throwing the ball 35 times, and I'm pretty sure 20 of them were in the first half.
Yeah, that surprised me. It was turned into a shootout real quickly.
Yeah, whenever it became 14-14 and Jonathan Taylor had only run the ball like 8 times,
Hmm.
it was definitely not what I expected.
Hmm.
So, and I'll be offensively, that's a positive. I thought offensively we played very well. Uh, Phil had 277 yards. I mean, he had more yards in the
Hmm.
first quarter last night than he did the entire game he had against Seattle.
Yes.
So he did very well. What I liked, and it's something you don't really see. At least I don't see too much of it anymore.
Hmm.
Just how Phil commanded the offense at the line last night. Calling out stuff pre-snap, changing plays if he had to.
Hmm.
Even I don't remember if it was Troy or Joe who said it on the broadcast that they were getting out of the huddle early just so they can get up to the line with enough time on the play clock. So Phil was able to dissect everything that San Francisco was throwing at him. And
And that
there's
was
plenty of videos on either on X or Facebook that I've seen this morning about like you just don't see quarterbacks really. It's more of a run and gun kind of
mhm.
go by the seat of your pants now instead of how Phil did it last night. And I think that's the difference between quarterbacks today than it was like when Peyton, Brady, and Phil were in their primes, really kind of dissecting things at the line.
Yeah, and that's what made obviously that's why he's in the Hall of Fame conversation. And the big thing for that I saw was like you were mentioning because you had brought it up perfectly last week about that. Like he has another week in the offense, in the building, talking to the coaches, getting those checks and audibles, and that's just old school quarterbacking. I know for a fact as a pocket passer, that's what made him so successful was the pre-snap to post-snap stuff. Pre-snap, let's get him in the right position. Post-snap, okay, you thought you could fool me by running cover three when it looked like you were running cover two. Well, I'm just going to dissect you to the right and throw it to the right guy. And several times throughout those first couple drives, I was really impressed. Like the arm strength is it's not what it was, but he's never had a cannon for an arm. He could deliver the football, as Peyton Manning would say in his Denver during his Denver games. I threw a lot of ducks, but they also scored a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah,
And there was a couple ducks, like you mentioned, but he was able to get it to the right guy and the right with the right time and move the chains.
that's especially like if you look at that the second touchdown he threw to Alec Pierce, it
Oh,
almost looks
it's
like he
impressive.
tossed it like a frisbee
Yeah.
to him. But I mean, he put it in a place where only Alec Pierce could catch it.
Uh-huh.
Which, by the way, give that man $1 billion. I don't care if we spend the entire salary cap on him. I was talking to my buddies last night, and I said I love Michael Pittman. I
Mhm.
always have since he was on the team since his rookie year. But I am at the point right now where I'm willing to give up on Pittman to be able to give Pierce the big payday.
Whoa.
Pittman has made a lot of solid plays since
No,
his
he
time in
has.
Indianapolis, but you never really see him make the big splash play
Yeah.
to where Pierce is all over the field. He's one of the best, if not the best, statistically this year on a deep ball. He was
Hmm.
he was number one in average yards, per reception last year, and I know he was leading all year this year. I don't know if that's changed over the last couple of weeks with Phil throwing the ball, but
Right.
because he's not throwing it, as far as Daniel Jones or as Anthony Richardson was last year. But yeah, I'm almost at that point to where we need to whatever Pierce puts down on the table, that's what we need to give him. I
Right.
I think we'll probably tag him this year if a deal doesn't get done,
Hmm.
but all depending on our quarterback situation, and then next year is going to be iffy just because of all the paydays that we're going to have to fork up. Because I know JT's up next year, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Pittman's up again, Josh Downs is up again. So like it's almost all of our playmakers on defense and offense besides you know Sauce, Travarius Ford, if he even comes back too, because like there's talk, especially with this being his third stint on the IR this year with a concussion. There's talks right now that he should just retire because I mean you know at best playing football all your life, concussions are nothing to mess with,
No, 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 no.
especially.
Now that we know everything that comes with a concussion, because obviously as soon as you throw around that C word, especially in the high school level, kids and parents start getting scared, and which
Mhm,
again, which rightly so, it's a big deal. So I can only imagine when you are professional making millions of dollars, you're like, hey, this is what I do and I'm really good at it. And
yeah,
am I willing to sacrifice years on the back end for success and money in the front end? And obviously, every person has to make their decision. And anytime that happens, I'm always going, golly, that's tough. That's tough.
yeah,
I didn't
and
realize that.
with like his first concussion, he didn't go on the IR. He missed, I think, a game two at the most. I think it
Hmm.
might have been just one. It's something that happened in week one against Miami.
Hmm.
The second one was the weird pre-game injury that kept him out for, I think it was almost, I don't think it was, yeah, it was the 4 week
Right.
span, but like there was stuff coming out whenever he was in the concussion protocol or on the IR for those 4 weeks. Like his mental health went sideways like real
Mm.
fast, and I know that I think he was dealing with the loss of his daughter and all of that too, and just trying to
Oh, yeah.
comprehend everything. So nobody really knows, and to be honest, that's really nobody's business but his
Hmm.
own. But you hope he can kind of get back. But if he steps away, you also have to respect that as well.
Right. Yeah, because he's a man, and again, I'm glad you brought up the daughter point because that can mess with you anyway. Let alone you have a
Yeah.
concussion on top of that, and and as a guy who he was expected to be the leader of that defense in the
Hmm.
back end, now he's missing games. And again, I'm not saying bringing Sauce would have messed some stuff up, but I
No.
also just think like as a dude, you're like, I'm glad we brought Sauce, but do you not believe in me? Do you think I'm injury prone? Is that why you made this move? You know what I mean? Like, and again, that could be just my head running wild with it, but there's so many things in terms of leadership and
Hmm.
a guy on the field that, you know, you can look at a situation and you have complete, malice behind it, and the organization may go, no, we're trying to do X, Y, and Z, or it
Yeah.
could just be other things, and this is just another thing that compounded the situation. So,
I think it was more of, if we have Ward, who was obviously our big money
mhm,
sign this offseason. And once we landed him, we're like, all right, we have Javarius Ward locking down the inside. And like we talked about on Sunday night, Kenny Moore is going to play that slot, that nickel
mhm,
corner most of the time. You rarely see him on the outside unless he's forced to, like he kind of had to do last night.
right,
I think bringing in Sauce was more of a complimentary move. It's like, all right, we got these two. It's not one and two.
mhm,
It's 1A, 1B. It's like put it in. Say you're taking it to like baseball terms. You got two ace pitchers. You
right,
got both of these guys are going to be your number one,
mhm,
right? So I think it's just building the staff
mhm,
more because I mean, like I talked about before the Chiefs game, it was the first game Sauce and Ward were going to play together, and it's
right,
like, where is Mahomes gonna throw gonna throw to? It's like
mhm,
because granted, Lou wanted to do more man coverage
mhm,
whenever Sauce and Ward were both in, which is smart. Those guys can
yeah,
lock down almost anybody. They can run with the best of them. But with them out, it's been more zone, and this is where the disappointments of last night came in because I'm
mhm,
almost certain that the 49ers just sent Gus Bradley over to our sideline and said, hey, Go do what you've been doing in Indianapolis the last 3 years. Just get in their head a little bit. And that's exactly what it reminded me of. It was soft zone. We're not going to match up with anybody. We're going to sit
Mhm.
back, and Purdy absolutely diced us up.
The other thing is your linebackers. I wasn't really impressed with either. I was
Our
shocked that I go ahead.
our linebackers play has been awful all year.
Okay, because I was going like, I don't know what Lou is coaching, but a lot of guys in the pros are doing their cross reading, and I'm
Hmm.
going, okay, it's a simple read, like you're reading the either far back or the far tight end or the H back. He does one thing, you read and react, and you should be getting to the spot more times out of nine. And there was simple, and again, this is just me watching the TV copy, no
Yeah,
all 22, and I'm just going, did he just false step there? He false
yeah,
step. Oh, and again, especially with the, I'm sure you remember this, the Christian McCaffrey run. He runs to the left. You had your linebacker fill the A gap, but if he cross reads properly, he's hitting the B gap
hmm
and he's stuffing McCaffrey, but it ends up turning into a not a touchdown. It was like it was his 20, it was a
yeah. It was the
20-yard
20
run.
yard, his longest
Yes.
yard, his longest
Yes.
run of the
And I was
season.
going, how did he miss that?
Yeah,
So I'm glad you brought that context because I was going, yo, if you guys had solid linebackers, I think you put more pressure on Purdy because your
yeah.
linebackers can easily drop and cover some of those windows. But it just looked like they were guessing half the time.
And what's crazy is that last week we had granted, this week we still had a broken defense. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't ever out there. We got DeForest Buckner back, and almost looks like the leader on our defense made our defense look worse.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. Granted, he's been out, 5 weeks with the neck injury, which is nothing to
Right.
sneeze at either. But it's like, all right, we're finally getting that staple guy back in the middle. Hopefully, we can get some sort of pass rush. Nope,
Mhm.
nothing.
Mhm.
I say I believe we didn't have one sack.
No.
That's not no, we didn't. No,
Mm-mm.
we had the one. I take that back. We had the one strip fumble from Latu, but it
Mhm.
flew up in the air, and their tight end just
Put
happened to be in the right
right
place at the
there.
right time. And yeah, and I mean, like, going back to the whole linebackers thing, like Nick Cross and Cam Bynum are having Pro Bowl like seasons. Like they have both done amazing jobs this
Mhm.
year, which we kind of expected because Cross started kind of coming out of his shell last year. And it's like, hey, if he can develop just a little bit, not so much in the coverage part, his coverage game has always been good. It's been more of the missing tackles and all that. But
Okay.
I think he's led the team in tackles during games, I think probably half the season.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, granted, you really don't want that because you don't want the defenders to kind of reach, or the offense to kind of reach that level, especially like on the running game. You don't want your safeties to have to tackle those guys. You want your linebackers and D linemen to kind of take that chunk there. But he really improved his tackling this year, and he's been all over the place. So it's
Right.
been good. But like you said, if the linebackers aren't where they're supposed to be, or just simply reading things wrong, it
Mhm.
it it doesn't make a difference how good your safeties are or any of your DBs.
And, like, for most defenses, you don't want your safeties to tackle a whole
No,
lot. Like, there's a reason why they play DB and not
yeah,
middle linebacker because
yeah,
typically your sides and if backs are consistently hitting second, third level, it's like, okay,
yeah.
you're
Your
probably not gonna
front,
win your front, and that's almost what happened against with the Niners, where McCaffrey ran at will. He averaged he was at he what was his final average? Hold on. I want to get
he
this
averaged
right.
five five point five
5.6.
seven. Yeah, five
Yes.
point six.
And that just means, hey, I'm eating and there's not a big thing you can stop me. You're
No,
not going to stop me today.
and they showed right when San Francisco took the field for the first time on offense. Graphics showed Colts had the best run defense in the
Mhm.
NFL, only allowing like 3 point. I think it was
Yeah.
3.7 yards per carry,
Mhm.
and then San Francisco was towards the bottom, I think 31st
Right.
in the league with 3.5 yards to carry. So it's like, all right, it is like we talked about the other day. It is a unstoppable force meeting the immovable object.
Mhm.
And for some reason it's just like we're going to flip flop. It's going to make the Colts look like they're the worst rush defense and the 49ers are, the best running offense out there, which Christian McCaffrey is, probably one of the best
Right.
backs in the league. He's going to break out.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of how you thought that was going to go and McCaffrey running wild like, he should.
Mm-hmm.
It was just strange. The defense did not show up last night. It was honestly, to put it in the nicest terms, I had my 24-hour cooling off period, even went to church to really make sure I cooled myself off thinking about it. And it it was just poor effort. Like it was pathetic, honestly. And I know I can say that sitting here not actually playing, but what really kind of got under my skin, and this isn't the first time this guy has come out and said things like this. Zaire Franklin has been with the Colts for many years right now, and he has had good years, but he does a lot of talking. And a lot of the times he doesn't have the play to back it up. And like this year, I think there was three different instances. He in the beginning of the year, he basically called out Justin Herbert, said he wasn't a top 10 quarterback. Justin Herbert goes and throws for 400 yards. Granted, the Colts won. The Colts won,
Mm-hmm.
but Herbert still had a career high in passing across the board.
Right.
Second one came out and said it was after the Branch and Juju fight with the Chiefs, and
Oh yes.
he
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, Juju needs to get smacked around a little bit, like, he's always talking and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Well, what happens? It's like, all right, well, Chiefs beat us in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And Franklin did not did not have another good game. And then last night after the game, which I thought was strange, granted, I know you win as a team, you lose as a team,
Mm-hmm.
but he basically came out and said we didn't play good on all three phases of the game. It's like, well, hang on. You have the C on your chest for the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
A 44-year-old grandfather just came off the couch, looked like he wanted to be there,
Mm-hmm.
and had, one of the best games of a quarterback in Indianapolis, the last 2 years. Honestly, like, yeah, Daniel Jones had good games this year, but like the way Phil was conducting the offense and everything, the offense came ready to play.
Yeah.
Like
You
they
guys
were
scored 27 points in the pros in the NFL, today's NFL. If you score 27 points, you put yourself in a good chance to
good
win.
spot to win.
This is
But I looked at a few plays this afternoon just from the defensive side because that's really kind of what I wanted to, keyhole in on.
Mhm.
And there was two or three plays where he's spinning around with his arms in the air
Mhm.
while the play's going on, like he has nowhere to be. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have off days, but you can't seriously come out and say that all three phases we didn't play good when honestly it was the defense just didn't show up. That granted, we had the one fumble on special teams that kind of killed us on the kickoff, but other than that, like you said, 27 points in the pros, you're putting yourself in a great position to win. Your defense
He
just has
give
to
up
make a
the
step.
Did he give up the score against McCaffrey? Was he the
Yeah.
linebacker? Okay, that's yep, that was the other note too, because I'm going, okay, it's clearly it looked like it was cover one.
Hmm.
Like your linebacker is supposed to cover the first thread out of the back out of the flats, which the flare out from the McCaffrey. He doesn't, so he ends up being in no man's land. I'm going, like you're saying, it's like the defense, you I guess I don't get it. For you have a good DC,
Hmm.
you have leaders on that defense, veterans. Yes, you have a couple injuries, but alignment and assignment, that
Yeah.
should be 90% anyway.
Yeah.
All those guys, you on the defense side, you don't have anybody new. That's what
No.
I'm trying to say. It's not Philip. You don't have a 44-year-old
No.
year old linebacker coming in who hasn't played in years. No, everyone on the defense should know the defense, should know how to line up, and should know their checks. So
Es-
I don't know. That was
especially
weird.
with all the injuries we've had this year. So
Yes.
it's I don't want to say a revolving door, but it kind of has been. Like all these guys have gotten reps, whether it's
Hmm.
been, first team in practice or actually
Hmm.
getting, game reps. All these guys have been in. Granted, like our corners last night, besides Kenny Moore, I mean Jalen Jones, he's been solid.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't see much out of Mekhi Blackman, which is honestly good. If you like, they always said, if you don't hear a corner's name, that's
So
best.
yeah.
That's best. Um, I can't. Oh, his last name's Edwards. I don't remember what his first name. He's been kind of on and off all season. He kind of struggled, but he's a rookie, and then he drafted late round and all that. So it's
Oh,
like you're
Jonathan Edwards.
yeah, Jonathan Edwards. That's who it is. You know, struggled a little bit, but from late drafted rookie, it's you're kind of expect that. And like we talked about on Monday, talking about like with the Brock Bowers situation about them being his best receiver. Last night, I mean, Kittle was their leading receiver. He had 7 receptions for 115 yards. And like we talked about on Monday, a top 5 tight end is going to beat a top 15 linebacker 9 times out of 10,
Oh
which
yeah.
is exactly what happened because there were so many times where Jermaine Pratt was out just covering him. And that's one thing I don't understand with Lou is that has happened a lot this year. We have had our linebackers covering their best passing option.
Hmm.
Like when we played the Falcons in Berlin, when Drake London scored, or made a big play, it wasn't because Sauce was covering him. I
Hmm.
mean, Sauce got burnt on the 2-point conversion in Berlin, but I mean, it was short field. He runs a quick out, like Sauce slips. They're going to score on that. That's
Right.
whatever. That's fine. But anytime else when London made a big play, it was because we had a linebacker covering their number one wide receiver.
And that's because of scheme. Like I
Yeah,
know for a fact that when that happens, it's if it, they know what Lou's trying to do, and Lou hasn't adapted yet for whatever reason. And maybe since this is year two,
this is his first year with Indy.
first year. Okay, okay. So perfect. There's only so many things Amaruno can do in that first year,
Yeah,
I would assume. And it's like, hey, yes, you're a good DC, but I know it's like, oh, on every motion you love to run cover one. So we're
yeah,
gonna make sure your rules apply to where that linebacker is having to cover our best receiver and it's barbecue chicken.
yeah,
So
yeah. So, like I said, defensively, that was just a bad performance, and that just seems to always happen.
mm,
It the games we've had both sides of the ball, or really all 3 sides of the ball clicking. But that's anybody. You have all 3 phases of the game going good. You're
mm,
more than likely going to win. It's rare that you drop one,
right,
but it just takes that one side of the ball to not show up one night, and that's the end of it.
right.
There's a lot of heat on Steichen and Ballard and just about everyone today. See, and to me is I had another conversation with one of my buddies. I personally do not believe it's a Steichen problem.
I
I
don't
don't.
either.
I don't. I
I
I Steichen is working with what he has,
mhm,
and like I've said, Ballard's been ridiculed for not kind of pushing the chips in and going to get a guy because his famous quote around the team is "We like our guys." Well, that really hasn't gotten us anywhere.
right.
So we went out and got Jones, the 1 year deal. Went and got Bynum. Went and got Ward. All right. Well, that
Mhm,
fixes our quarterback and part of our secondary.
mhm,
Okay, that's good. Well, we realized we had more secondary issues. All right, go out and get Sauce. Overpay? Maybe.
mhm.
Maybe. Yes, probably. But if I'm Chris Ballard, I do not apologize for doing that. At,
Because you
at that
got
at that time, we
mhm.
are. Let's see. That was going
I
in. We were 7-2 going into
right.
that time.
Because I would say my only thing would have been I don't mind trading those first, but I would have had to at least gotten a day two, like 2/3 back or something. Like I'll give you
Hmm.
my first, but you got to give me your thirds or something because the deal is just sauce, and you guys give them your two first, correct?
And AD Mitchell.
And AD Mitchell, yeah, I would have. I guess for my end, I would have fought a little bit more for either day two or a fourth rounder, but
Yeah.
That's but that's
And
just me second guessing and even, third guessing.
I also think if we had our long-term solution at quarterback too, it wouldn't be
Mhm.
talked about as much. Like
Yeah.
if we had Jones signed already, it's like, all
Mhm.
right, it's we weren't going to take a quarterback in the first round anyway,
Right.
and now it's kind of like, well, we didn't get because whenever that happened, that was almost like, all right, well, I guess they are going all in on Daniel Jones because
Correct.
I don't want to say they didn't have another option, but that's
But that's what
kind of what
yeah.
it was. You didn't have another option, and so I think if we had him locked up for another 2 to 3 years, I think there wouldn't be too much chatter about it. But now
Mhm.
that things have kind of gone south in a hurry, I think it just blows it up even more.
Do you think Ballard gets some blame for the Riley Leonard situation? Because because like as I'm thinking about it, right? Say what you want about him. You drafted him. He's not an
Yeah.
undrafted free agent
Nope.
that you're taking a flyer on. You drafted him. So he was on your board. He is a guy who you thought should be able to play and can play for your team or at least contribute. But
Mhm.
the fact that you bring in Rivers, do you think he gets some blame for that?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, just how I knowing if we're talking fan perspective wise,
Right.
yes, there will be
Mhm.
some blame. But last night they came out with the story that Steichen held a meeting with the leadership group of the team
Mhm.
and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about bringing, you know, Philip Rivers in.
Mhm.
Explain the situation, explained like, he knows the offense, but if you guys don't want this to happen, it's not going to happen." And
Okay.
they took a vote and it was unanimous, bring him in by the players. So just knowing how unreasonable some Colts fans can be,
Right.
yes, I think Ballard will probably get some sort of blame for it,
Mhm.
but to me, I don't think he should.
Mhm.
And I get it. I get it last week just because of you didn't know how healthy Riley Leonard actually was.
Mhm.
But it just I get the criticism of it because it does have a bad look to it just a
Mhm.
little bit. And it's kind of fired up the discussion of does the NFL have a quarterback development problem?
Right.
And I don't think you can say that.
Okay. And I'm not saying get fire Ballard. I think for the most part he's done a good job. Obviously every GM has misses. Like there's things where he's missed and again, we'll talk about our best friend Anthony Richardson and at the time I thought he's perfect.
Yeah.
Like every so often I'll see the highlight of him at Florida, a few highlights of him at Florida and
Mhm.
go, yeah, I would have drafted him at fourth and just try to develop him.
And
Think
you
he could be a
can't
Josh Allen. Like that's human nature. If he has all the
and
talent and the tools, why would I
yeah,
not give him a shot?
and you can't blame Ballard for taking him because
Hmm.
say he doesn't get hurt in his rookie year, what happens?
Right.
Like if he doesn't have that shoulder sprain, that
Hmm.
AC sprain in his rookie year, you never know. Like we could
You
have went and
never
won.
know.
Yeah,
Right.
and I
You
think
don't know.
just being hurt, but I mean, like apparently there was reports of like culture issues kind of going in
Hmm.
too with some guys, and like apparently when he got hurt, he really wasn't ever in the building, which
That's weird. Like
yes,
it like even if you're hurt, you're still in the building. You may not be around the guys, but you're in the building. You're doing
yeah,
your treatment, you're doing your ice, your stem, your PT stuff. Yeah, did anything come from that? Like did any explanation or anything?
not really. It's still very unclear, and it was brought more to light last year after the whole tap out
Oh, okay.
situation and all that, and him still getting hurt and
Right.
all that, and I don't know it's strange. A lot of people think that him and Steichen butt heads. A lot of
Hmm.
people think Ballard and Steichen butt heads. It's a lot of kind of conspiracy theory
Right.
going on, and
But
nobody
then
really
both
knows the
those
answer.
guys were in the building, so they would have known his personality, which I don't like.
Yeah,
Like if I think it's something that teammates haven't come out and said it. It's not a, and again, I like Russell Wilson, but it's not like Russell Wilson during those Seattle days where guys are like, yeah, I don't really mess with Russell. He's a nice
So,
dude, but X, Y,
and
and Z.
and
As far as I,
nobody messed with him in Denver. Like,
right.
he's up there on the jet doing high knees on the way to wherever it was. It's like, get this guy off the team.
And I like Russell, but it was
Yeah,
just a bad look. Like, yo, what are you doing? But nothing like that I've heard
yeah,
nationally. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. It's the curious case of Anthony Richardson. That's all it's ever gonna be. And I feel like every show we do, it's always gonna wrap around and come back to him somehow. Until I said, there's two players from the Colts that I will now defend with my life, and it's
Uh-huh.
the Colts version of Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. I'll go to
Mhm.
bat for both of them. And speaking of that, I'm
Oh.
sitting here watching the game last night, and just my heart sank when
Mhm.
they took the camera and had the shot of Danny Dimes sitting up there in the press box with just
Oh,
one headphone on, hand
right, right.
dead in his hand like this, and it's just like, hmm.
Dang.
I, yeah, it's like, I mean, you feel for the guy, because it's like he
Mhm.
was having a career year, and just everything how it came crashing down.
And
It's
you
sad.
know, David Gettleman's going somewhere like, I told you he was gonna work. I told you, and
Yeah,
you all called me crazy.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I what I hate it. I don't. I'll say this. I in two aspects. I hate it for you as a Colts fan because you don't have answers.
hmm.
That's the thing. Like at the end of the day, you still really don't know.
Oh no,
Like
we're in the
he
same
could have
spot as we were coming into this season.
bingo, bingo. The other aspect, I hate it for him because he's building confidence. And now, no matter when he comes back, if he resigns with you guys or if another team goes and picks him up, he's Achilles is terrible.
Yeah,
It just sucks. Like you're out. You really can't do a whole lot. And that PT, and as a person who's dealing with an Achilles right now, it just lingers.
hmm,
It lingers until it finally heals up, and then you're always kind of going. That's why Aaron Rodgers is finally, in my opinion, finally
yeah.
playing well, and that's been he had an Achilles injury 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. And last year, you can tell he was off.
Yes.
And Kirk Cousins too. Granted, Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are years older than Daniel
Right.
Jones is, but it's still a bad injury. It's like, I listening to this, like a lot of the Colts podcasts, like on the Locked On and stuff like that. It's like you almost rather him tear his shoulder to a
Yeah.
million pieces,
Yeah.
because you can rehab that easier than you can your Achilles.
Yeah. Any of those lower bodies, any like because the shoulders, the the way a athletic trainer told me is like the closer you are to your heart, the easier the blood flow and
Yeah,
easier it is to heal. The way it's further, that's why fingers are all, that's why dudes in the pros when they retire, their fingers are always like
all
jacked up.
Jordan
That's why
Poyer.
toe. Yep. That's why ankles and knees are always kind of because it's just away from the center of your body and it just takes a while to heal. And especially with that Achilles. So all right, well, we're gonna take a quick break real quick and then we'll come back. See you in a bit, y'all. And all right, we're back, y'all. We'll go ahead and go with Cody. Go ahead, man. Finish up your Colts talk.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, it's disappointing because you had your own destiny was in your own hands. Went
Mhm.
out and we were in, and now it's going to take quite a bit more to get into the playoffs. And I have there was a picture I seen today. Yeah, here it is, right here. So since the Colts lost, now they obviously have to beat Jacksonville and beat Houston
Yeah.
to get in now.
Hmm.
So if Indy beats Jacksonville and beats Houston, it comes down to a tiebreaker. But the tiebreaker it comes down to is the strength of victory tiebreaker. And so basically, Indianapolis needs 7 of the tie or the strength points, however you want to call it, needs 7 of 13 of those points to win. But
Hmm.
if Houston wins one game, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
It's done. Yeah. So
Right,
if
because the Chargers clinched and
the Bills clinched.
Bills. Thank you. I was
So
like,
if
who's the other team?
so if Houston beats the Chargers next week, it's done and over
Right.
with there. But if they come down to a tie, going into that last week where they do play each other, Houston needs 8, Indianapolis needs 7.
Hmm.
So basically, just kind of going down the list here for the Colts in Week 17, they need Denver, Green Bay, Miami, Philly, Chicago, and Atlanta to win. That's just options to win. Because
Right.
for some reason, the last ones are all worth 1 point. But the Denver KC, if Denver beats Kansas City for some reason, it's worth 2 points. I don't know how that works.
Okay.
But then in week 18, the Colts need Miami, Atlanta, the Jets, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and Vegas to beat Kansas City, which you never know. From if we see the Chiefs team we've seen this past week, Vegas might beat them.
Yeah.
So basically, they need 7 of those out of all those options. Out of those 13 options, the Colts need 7 of those to hit.
Hmm.
And it's Denver, KC. I fully believe that Denver will beat Kansas City.
I agree.
Green Bay, Baltimore. That could be a toss-up depending on
Right.
which Packers team shows up. Miami at Tampa Bay. The way the Bucks have been playing, another toss-up. Hopefully, Quinn Ewers, my boy,
Hey,
Sam,
no. Hey,
can
I want
yeah,
my the job gets easy if you guys if the Dolphins beat the Bucks. Now
yeah,
granted, we play the Seahawks, but I
yeah,
I will take that, and what I mean, that just helps the Panthers. Anything to help the Panthers, I'm like,
right.
yes.
And then we need Philly to beat Buffalo, which another toss-up.
Right.
The one I'm interested to watch is the Bears and 49ers. I think that's going to be a great game.
Hmm.
Sunday night football next week. One that I'm really not looking forward to is the Rams at Falcons on Monday. That one I can probably chalk up to probably not getting that one,
Right.
as well as Miami at New England week 18.
Hmm.
Atlanta, New Orleans. Need Atlanta to win.
Hmm.
Jets at Buffalo. No. I'll already go ahead and chalk that one up. No.
Hey,
Yeah. Seattle against San Francisco.
because real quick, the Bills, they can't win the division, right? The Pats have already won it.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. So
Yes, and
they may, wrestle a couple of dudes
they could.
and
Josh Allen could only play, one quarter, which
mhm.
would be nice. And then Seattle at San Francisco. Need the Seahawks to win. I can see that. Pittsburgh being Baltimore again, hopefully. But and then, like I said earlier, Vegas at Kansas City. So
Yeah.
it's going to take a lot of help uh, over these past few weeks where the Colts have needed help. There were 16 games that the Colts needed somebody to win just to help them out.
Mhm.
The teams that the Colts needed to win in those games went 0 and 16.
So literally
No help.
every game,
No
yeah,
help.
every.
So I fully expect us to go 0 and 13.
Oh my
0 for
god.
13 when it comes to somebody else trying to give us help here. But
Oh my
like I said,
gosh.
I'm still gonna, you know, the saying goes, I ain't heard no bell. Right now, the
Right.
bell hasn't rung yet, so I'm still supporting. But as you can see, I got baseball stuff on now, so we are slowly might be making the transition from Colts blue to Cardinal red here real soon.
Hey,
We never know. It just
hey, I
depends on
know.
what happens on Sunday.
Right. Hey, and I know this is not normally a baseball show, but your Cardinals, man, they've been making a lot of moves.
Yeah, and
Like,
I'm
I don't know
loving
what
every minute of it.
I don't know what that ownership group is doing, but good kudos. Like the last
Yeah,
couple of years, you guys have been stagnant, and I didn't understand it. But maybe they're just like, hey, we just wanted to see what was going on, and
yeah.
now we can kind of plug and play with some guys. So
The similarities on how the Colts front office and the Cardinals front office do business, it is a carbon copy of each other, and I can't stand it. The Cardinals finally got a new GM, president of baseball operations now,
mhm.
so it's like that's why you're seeing all these different moves here. He's
Right.
like, this has been the problem. We're cleaning house,
Mhm.
so maybe that'll happen with the Colts now. But
Maybe.
other than that, until somebody says we're dead, I'm not believing it yet. So
Uh-huh.
so just get a win against Jacksonville at home. Hope for just a little bit of help, just
Hmm.
a little bit of help, and then you go into Week 18 just like you were 2 years ago in 2023 with Gardner Minshew running the team. It's
Right.
a win and get in Houston, and I would love nothing more than 44-year-old Philip Rivers to go into Houston and
Especially,
kick them right
oh,
out of the playoffs.
could you imagine that, especially with your folks, your family? Oh, that'd be
I,
great. I
oh
know.
yeah, I
I
would.
know. Uh, they couldn't
I
tell
would.
you nothing.
Nope, they wouldn't. They wouldn't be able. They wouldn't be able to say a thing. But that, as far as far as that goes, that would be a nice late Christmas present
Right,
for
right.
me if the stars aligned that way and we got the help we needed and all we had to do is just beat them and we
Hmm.
did. I don't care how we do it. We could it could be some bogus penalty that my
Right.
my brother's going to go off on the tangent like he always does about how Vegas is in it and it's rigged and all that. I tell him all the time. I was like, if they're scripted, I said I would love to see Damar Hamlin's face when he read that script.
Right.
But yeah, we so close the book. Close the
Oh,
book on this week. Move on to next week, and
right.
just try to handle your business.
Oh, man. Well, good luck to you, bro.
Yeah,
Good luck. Good luck. Big news came out today with the Chiefs. We're only talking about it because it's big news, and we got a couple people who we know that are Chiefs fans, and I'm sure we're hearing it on both ends. The big thing, obviously, if you've somehow been living under a rock, the Chiefs are now going to be playing in Kansas City, Kansas, in Wyandotte County. As a Kansas City resident, my Facebook and Twitter and messages have been actually 50-50. Half the fans I know have been like, you know what, I'm still supporting this team. I love them. It didn't matter how good we were in the past. It didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered where we played as long as they are in Kansas City area. I'm okay with that. And technically, Kansas City, Kansas is the Kansas City area.
yeah,
So it's like, I mean, it's 20 minutes away, but still part of that metro area. The other 50% are livid. Livid. I mean, they've called, I'm not saying threats, but borderline, like if I
yeah,
see this man, I might throw a brick, you know what I'm saying? And at first I didn't understand it, but I get it from their
mm-hmm.
perspective of it's if you're not from Kansas City, the best way I can describe it is there's a natural rivalry between the Kansas side and the Missouri side, the Jackson County side of Missouri versus the Johnson County of Kansas side. And so there's just natural, I mean, hey, you guys are part of this state, we're part of this state. And it was always a symbol of pride for the Missouri side to have the Kansas City Chiefs to represent them. You tell any Kansas City Chiefs fan, hey, the Chiefs play in Kansas, right? And they'll go, no, they're from Missouri. Kansas City is 6 years older than the whole state of Kansas, and they'll go on a tangent. And again, I get it. That is your team. That is your area. That's your pride. I 1000% agree. And just for the fact of the that this Kansas City Chiefs team, they've been so successful the last couple years. You're losing that success now to the Chiefs organization part. If you've never been to the stadium, the whole area around it is not that great. It's not. It's a dead zone. They have
Yeah,
one they have one hotel across I-70 where they play. Everything else is mainly residential. The area, I'll be honest with you, is kind of in the hood. Like it's not that developed as you would think a NFL stadium would have.
that
And
hotel is very expensive too. By the way, looked at it when we
oh,
visited
I
this year. It's
it
not. It's
and
well out of price range.
and it's not worth it. Like I
That's what
mean,
it looked like.
we're not talking about the Four Seasons or the Bellagio.
Yeah,
It's again, no offense to anybody that works there, but it's not. In that area that they're moving to, it is a nice area. It's Kansas City, Kansas, the Legends area. If you're familiar with it, lots of shopping, lots of just down good area to where you can develop and grow, and their plans are going to be pretty well. The big news from today, though, is apparently the state of Kansas said, "Hey, Chiefs, we will give you everything under the sun for you to move.
We're,
The
we're
latest
giving you 3 billion reasons to to
3
move over here.
billion reasons. So according to reports, and this is just X, and again, I'm not officially, I have no ties to the NFL other than just the reports I get. $3 billion with stadium funding and a mixture of use of development funding with tax incentives, but the state of Kansas gets nothing in return. The Chiefs get 100% of the revenue from all stadium activities, including ticket sales, concessions, sponsorships, naming rights deal, personal seat licenses, and more. Um, this also applies to any NFL games or other sporting events. So think about if the Final Four is ever played in that new stadium, the Chiefs get that revenue. If
That's the craziest part to me.
which I was like, what?
Yeah,
But anything, if they do it in that venue, the Chiefs get the revenue from it. The state of Kansas will own the stadium, but the Chiefs will pay them $7 million. But that $7 million that they will pay is just rent that they get to basically hold on to for any future use. So the best way to describe it was, um, let's say you're paying your landlord your rent, right? But if but instead of that money going to the landlord for repairs for the whole building, the landlord's only keeping that money for your apartment. So if anything goes down, oh, you need an upgraded system, security system, bam, that goes right to you. Oh, you need a washer and dryer, that goes right to you. Oh, you need a new fridge, that goes right to you. What happened to the other residents? Well, it doesn't matter. Your money
yeah,
just goes to you. So I again, I'm that's a tough that's tough to beat for the state of
yeah.
Missouri. Like, there's no way the state of Missouri was going to could allow that and let them afford that what Kansas was
No,
doing, and especially um, so it reminded me maybe this is a lot of their uh, gambling money that they just essentially hoarded. They haven't spent a whole lot of it.
no.
So they knew this could have been a possibility, and kudos to them. This was a state issue. They wanted it. The people in the capital of the state of Kansas said, "Hey, we want a professional sports team. Let's get the one that most of our
Yeah,
constituents are a fan of, the Chiefs. Let's make the best offer possible." Now, I'm really curious to see the repercussions for every other state in terms of negotiating with a professional sports team. I can only imagine
what will the Bears do?
what will the if I'm the Bears, I'm going Illinois. Look what Kansas just did.
And I can tell you from living here, Illinois does not have that money.
No, no, they don't. So does Indiana. And again, I know there's a couple of jokes about them going to Gary, Indiana. Obviously, they're not going to Gary, Indiana.
No,
But just the fact that could the Bears become an Indiana team if Indiana wants to make a push for it? You know what I mean? If
I've
I'm
heard Fort Wayne.
Oh yes, thank you. The other team I immediately thought of was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are constantly always in talks of relocation just due to their market size. Um, Duval County and their head coach Liam Cohen has talked about the side about them being a small market team over and over and over again. And again, it's true,
Yeah,
but Khan, their owner, has to look around and go, okay, who can I move? Where can I move to where I can get a deal like that or even 90% of it?
yeah.
Because say what you want about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have Trevor Lawrence. The value of their franchise is only going to go up if he continues to play well,
Mhm.
which are crazy. It's almost the LeBron James effect for the Cavs. Whenever LeBron played for the Cavs, that was almost a 800 million dollar
Yeah,
franchise. He leaves, it drops down to 300 million.
yeah.
It's same with is that's how I'm looking at it with the Jags. So if the Jacksons strike hot with Trevor Lawrence, they could possibly get a great deal with a with a city or state that they want to move to. Utah is another one where I thought of, could they do a deal like this where they don't have the gambling money, but they do have Mormons, and
Yeah.
Mormons love to make money and spend it. So
Who is? Oh, he owns the hockey team now. Ryan Smith, is that his name? he owns the hockey team, and I think he has something to do with the Jazz
Yes, yes.
too.
Let me make sure.
I think Ryan Smith is his name. Like he is all in about bringing sports, to Salt Lake City and all that.
Right.
Right, that was the whole thing with bringing the Mammoth with the formerly as
Yep.
Phoenix Coyotes over
Hmm.
and changing that is because they knew they had the capital for it.
Hmm. Yep, he's a co-owner of the Jazz, and he's the owner of the Jazz and owner of the Mammoth. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So like but granted, I don't think say Jacksonville or any other team was. I don't think it's going to be a sell of ownership per se.
Right.
But I think definitely if you get in close with him, if Utah is going to be an option, get in close with them. I think it could definitely happen
Hmm.
because they're definitely not moving to London.
No, no, and I don't. I, that's always a frustrating conversation that I hear, and I'm going, stop bringing that up because that's not a realistic option. Number
No,
one, like number one, the time difference alone is crazy.
crazy.
The currency of constantly having to figure out how to play, like no one likes going over there to play. Like I haven't yet heard a guy who's like, yes, can't wait to play in Europe this week.
Yeah,
All those guys hate it. They
yeah.
hate it. Let alone, could you imagine playing there as your team? Like,
No,
no. I'm glad they do it over there. I'm glad they're building the game. What I never understood is why is there not more of a push for like Toronto
yeah.
or
That's like
Vancouver
Canada.
or Montreal?
Every other major sport league has a team in Canada. So
Yeah,
why not do that first? I mean, that's obviously something probably way over our pay grade. Like
right.
why
And
London
there
and why not Canada?
and do you remember the Bills were always in talks to move to
Yeah,
Toronto like a
they
cup?
played in Rogers Center a
Hmm.
handful of times
Yeah.
because I
So
mean that's just a shot over the lake.
right. And then I always forget how close Detroit is to
Hmm.
Toronto too. It's literally on the other side. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. But again, like you said, it's probably something way above our pay grade, but I feel like that's always way of a more realistic option than London is or
Yeah,
Germany or Ireland, wherever they ever talk about. Shoot, even Brazil, I feel like it's way more of an option than London half the time.
yeah, because
But
the time difference there wasn't too bad whenever
no,
they played.
I think it's
Like
only like 2 hours or something
yeah, that's no
from the
different
East Coast.
than a West
Mhm.
Coast game.
Yeah.
And they had the talks, or it may not have been an official talk. I know I've heard certain podcasts and other radio shows bring it up about having a Super Bowl in London first. How how would you make that work?
Mm-mm,
Like you said, like the currency, the transfer currency is going to be one thing, but
mm-mm,
I think the biggest issue is what time exactly are you going to play this game?
mm-hmm.
Because like, are you going to play at 11 p.m. their time? Probably
Yeah.
not.
E-
But if you play it at normal time here, it's middle, or that's not, or yeah, it's earlier in the morning. Is it if you play in the middle of the day? No, middle of the day here would probably be closer to like 11 p.m.
Right.
their
Let me see
time.
the London time now. Yeah, like right now it is 10:39 for us. It is 4:39 over there.
Yeah. So it's that would be, I think, your biggest issue is actually trying to figure out when to play it. And kind of like going back to the Chiefs, like with that whole 7 million rent thing. It's when I seen it earlier, it's like, oh, so basically I'm taking this money out of my checking account and putting it into a savings account. That's all I'm doing.
Yes, yes, all I'm doing. Yeah.
I'm not spending this money. I'm just moving it from one account to
You
another.
it's just yeah, it's in writing that I'm doing it. Like I
Yeah.
have to do it. I may not want to, but I
No.
have to.
Yeah. And do you think like the whole rivalry between that state line right there between them, does that fall into the Mizzou Kansas rivalry? Is
Oh,
that a big reason?
yes, yes. Oh, yes. I the, the that was a thing that I didn't get when I moved to Kansas City. Was how big of a rivalry that was because I was used
Hmm.
to Duke, North Carolina.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, like the ACC rivalries and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean, I was like, it's a but like it's a rivalry. It's not
Yeah.
Alabama Auburn, but
No, but
it's a it's a
especially when it
rivalry.
comes to basketball, it's
Yep.
big.
Oh yeah, when I was here when both Kansas and Mizzou were undefeated and they were like the number 2 and 3
Mhm.
team. Oh, that was it was like gang warfare.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like
Oh,
it's just it's just weird now because it's like how long is Missouri gonna be able to hold these sports? Because like especially football, because like you know Rams are gone now,
yeah.
and it has decimated that area of St.
Yeah, yeah.
Louis.
Like that where that's I where I think you were telling me how bad that area is
Hmm.
over there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Anything like because Bush Stadium is right when you come across the river.
right.
It's right, it's basically in the smack middle of downtown. As soon as you get
Mhm.
across the river, basically the first building that's there, Bush Stadium, is right off Interstate 64.
Yeah, you literally see the arch, Bush
And then,
Stadium.
yeah, and for people who don't know, Edward Jones Dome, where the Rams used to play, is just a couple blocks north of that. You get a block or two north of Bush Stadium, and it's like you can tell ever since the Rams upgraded, they still have XF, UFL, whatever you want to call it. The Battlehawks are there every spring, but it's like that's not gonna make an area thrive like
Mhm.
the Rams did whenever they were there. So just them moving out of that area, which wasn't whenever they were there, it was a nice area. Like all those hotels were up to date, modern. We had a couple casinos down there too because it was on the river, so it
Right.
was technically legal.
Hmm.
And now all the hotels have run down. I know businesses are moving out of there. There's no residential area around it whatsoever. So now it's like kind of like you said, and just for myself, just my first time going to Arrowhead this year, just seeing the area it's in. Like once they move out of that, what's granted they still have the Royals Stadium,
Right.
and like the Royal Kaufman's
But
still going to be
but
there.
again, the Royals are also in the
They're
same
talking about the
situation.
same thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And personally, I think the Royals should move downtown Kansas City. Like, I think that would really help
Hmm.
revitalize that downtown and make it kind of like what you were saying with the Edger Domes area, where now you're because Kansas City downtown has done a good job of building it up. They have a trolley, they have a lot of residential, they have a lot of apartments, they have a lot of things. But I just think it's so cool after because I'm immediately thinking of the Cubs or Bush Stadium when I've gone there. It's like after the game, you're literally in the mat
Hmm.
right in the middle of the city, and you are going to do different things. And it's almost like everyone goes to the game together, everyone leaves together, and now you're almost like, hey, here's there, here's there, here's there. Like you're not getting your car to go drive because that was always the bummer thing after the Chiefs game was all right,
But
now my car, but then now
it was
I'm
terrible getting out of there.
terrible getting out there, and there's no sense can use the wrong word, but there was no like horde mentality. It's I just think it's so cool. Like after after a big basketball game in high school or college or whatever, right? You leave the stadium or the arena, and then a group of people are in this section or in this section or in
Hmm.
that section, but you're still near where the game was played versus, oh, we're gonna get in our car, drive 20 minutes to go to the good barbecue spot
Yeah.
up in Liberty or something. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I kind of just lost the feel of the game
Yeah.
versus together. And again, the city itself does a good job of feeling like it's game day. They do a good job. So that's not my complaint, but it is something special of like, oh, I just saw. I mean, all of us were at the same. We all were at the same game. Now we all travel to this section that
Hmm.
also makes it feel like it's still part of the game day
Yeah.
experience.
That's how Indianapolis is. Lucas Oil is
Yeah,
right in the middle of downtown, and you
that's how.
you leave the game, and
Mhm,
you are a 10-minute walk from any bar, restaurant,
mhm,
anything you want to go to is well within walking distance, and you can walk for hours. That's what we did when we went to Indianapolis for the Cardinals game.
mhm.
Game got done probably about 3:30. My car didn't leave the hotel parking lot. It was a 10-minute Uber drive.
Hmm.
You don't have to tell them I need to be dropped off right in front of the stadium like you
Right.
would if you go to Arrowhead or some of these other stadiums. Hey, you can drop me off anywhere downtown, and I know I can walk to the stadium in 5 minutes.
Minneapolis. I had a buddy who went up there. He's gone up there the last couple of years, and he mentioned that where it was almost the same feel of like
Mhm.
he and his friends left their car was at the hotel. They basically took walked over. went to the game, left, didn't go to the hotel, just went to a couple other
Mhm.
bars and stuff and had a good time. And it
Yeah,
was, you know what I mean? Like next thing you know, it was like 8, 9 o'clock. They were watching on the Sunday night game and they're still at the original, they're still at the original spot, but
yeah,
it didn't feel like it because
no,
they're having a good time of where they're at. So
yeah, because
I,
you're still surrounded by a couple, probably a couple by that point, probably a couple hundred other people who are still at the game, or just people who walked downtown just to
yep.
be around the atmosphere of it.
Oh yeah. So I like we both agreed, especially not Chiefs fan, like with no nostalgia glasses. Like I get it, like I get the historical significance behind Arrowhead, but I do think it's a good move to build a new
Mhm.
stadium. I just hate it for um I just hate it for that area specifically because I know it's not going to be the same. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna have to demolish the stadium. They're gonna have to either replace it. Like I don't know what you put over there.
So you
It's
don't think they would use that for kind of like an all-purpose kind of thing, like they do, like with the Edward Jones Dome now?
no, because it's like at least with the dome, it's a dome, so
That's
you
true.
can
It's not.
like
It's enclosed.
like they still have concerts there. They still have plenty of shows there. Like the Battlehawks still play there. Um, I almost wish they would have used it for because right now they play the state championship game at Mizzou. I wish they
Hmm.
did at the Jones Dome like they used to. I always
Yeah.
thought that was cool. And I had a friend who was a head coach. He and his wife would go there for the state championship game and almost be like hey, you go watch the games, then you
Yeah.
go to the different bars or restaurants, whatever. You make it a whole weekend, and they don't do that anymore. And I'm
No.
sure that's part of it too, where it's like that area wasn't that great, and kids want to play
Yeah.
where athletes are played, which is now Mizzou. So,
Yeah. And like I was never a Rams fan at any
mhm.
point, but it was always just fun to kind of go over there just to be able to take in
Yeah,
just to take in an NFL game, no matter who was playing. Like
right.
one of my buddies in grade school and high school, they were always season ticket holders for Rams, and it's like, hey, the Rams are playing you know, playing the Jets. It's like
Hmm.
we got 2 extra tickets. You guys want to come? Oh heck yeah,
Sweet, right.
we'll go over there. And whenever Seattle or San Francisco would come
Hmm.
come to St. Louis, that was basically just about the same as Cubs and Cardinals playing.
Right.
So it was always fun to kind of get on that. Like I don't have a dog in this fight. It's fun for me just to sit here and watch you guys battle this out.
Hmm.
But like you said, I you hope the area doesn't kind of turn into a mess, but you
I
just never know.
The last thing I wanted to bring up was Nick Wright brought up this point about the Chiefs leaving KC. I don't know if you saw this quote, but he said that he hates the Chiefs are leaving. He does. I don't hate that Missouri was not held hostage by pro sports owners. The state of Kansas, via the Star bonds and other stuff, is going to pay more money for this Chiefs stadium than any local government, which means taxpayers have paid for any stadium in the history of America. 1.8 billion. The state of Kansas has no, sorry, state of Kansas has no public transportation. So don't get mad at the governor. So don't get at me. Sorry, don't get mad at me, Governor Laura Kelly. I'm sure there's a few bus routes. The Chiefs are going to be playing in a dome stadium in 2031. I hate it. Very short term, very selfish. I like the dome for Patrick's late 30s. That's just not, but that to me is not worth the trade off of football. Slowly but surely eliminating weather as a component. I think football is a game made to be played in the elements. And then he made another point was the Super Bowl, which was the other reason why they wanted to move. He said, "I like the idea, the idea that the idea um, I like that idea because they built this stadium in Kansas City, Kansas. Is going to get a bunch. Sorry. The idea that they built this in Kansas City, Kansas is going to bring a bunch of Super Bowls is not true. I think they'll probably get one, and people complained about the Super Bowl being in Kansas City. And you know what? They should because the Super Bowl should not be in Kansas City. I'm from here, and I love it, but should but it should have never been in Minneapolis. Minneapolis or Indianapolis. The idea that Kansas City is going to be in a Super Bowl rotation, that's not going to happen. It's not going to be every 10 years at the biggest sporting event in the country headquarters in Wyandotte County in February. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And for that second quote, I 1000% agree with them because
Yeah.
I think at best it'll be one at one,
Yeah.
and then because Midwest winters are terrible,
Yeah.
and you're gonna tell me you got a bunch of people who are gonna go, yeah, we're in the dome, but the rest of the week,
let's drive in the ice and the snow and battle all the elements to get there. To where,
So-
hey, Florida doesn't. It might rain during the whole game of the Super Bowl, but at least it's not, feel like -20 outside,
right?
and all the other conditions.
Same with Dallas or Houston. It's like, yeah, it's in the Midwest, but again, good weather, dome. We can do plenty of things in Dallas or in Houston, and obviously Las Vegas is Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's
Texas Midwest is a lot different than Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas Midwest.
Yeah. So, all right. Good talking with you. I just want to wrap this up, but just by saying that it's been fun to do these chats with you. I hope that the Colts are able to pull it off. I'm excited for my team, but we're playing against the Seahawks, and I'm almost willing to bet the mortgage that our game against the Bucks is going to be flex because it will be for the division. It's like I'm almost willing to bet it. So,
hopefully it's not though.
Hopefully it's not. I mean, I ain't gonna be mad if we lock it up this upcoming week. I ain't gonna be mad.
No.
Any final thoughts from you?
No, not really. Just watching Phil 1 week at a time, because this is probably the last time anybody's ever going to watch him. But again, we said that in 2020.
Yep.
So,
all right, man. Hey, this has been the episode. We are done here. I hope you have a wonderful evening and enjoy your family during this Christmas season. Merry Christmas from my family and yours. Take care.